wants to throw it. Touchdown, Ohio State.
Mariota, perfect strike, touchdown.
The party is just beginning in New Orleans as a celebration. Ohio State and their fans will take to the streets of New Orleans and back in Columbus as well. 42-35 winners over Alabama at the Sugar Bowl. Hello again, everybody. Ray Crawford here with Doug Chapman, and now we have our combatants for the national championship in the college football playoff. Oregon beating Florida State earlier today in the Rose Bowl, followed by Ohio State's win here over Alabama. So I guess the question to you, Doug, as you look at this matchup, what are your first thoughts about the Buckeyes and Ducks next week?
You've got two complete football teams. You got two teams that can line up and smash you. They can run the ball on you. They've got good quarterbacks. Actually, Mariota won the Heisman. Cardale Jones came out and played extremely well. You've seen 2 games of him. You've got teams that can push the pace. They can really move the ball at will on anybody they want. You watched a Ohio State team come out tonight and move the ball at will against one of the nation's best defenses. You watch an Oregon Ducks team line up and just beat up on Florida State on both sides of the football. You've got two similar teams. They can run fast on the perimeter. They've got big guys in the box. They've got great running backs, and they've got quarterbacks that can make plays. It's going to be a fantastic football game.
Ohio State and Oregon, these are both teams that put up a lot of points. Do you foresee a big offensive matchup here, or do you think this is going to be a more of a low-scoring defensive type game?
These are two teams that take whatever the defense gives them. If they take away the deep ball, then they can line up and run it. Marcus Mariota, to me, brings that added dimension because he can pull it down and be a legitimate weapon when he pulls the football down. Cardale Jones can move, but he's nowhere near the athlete that Marcus Mariota is. So that's going to be the difference makers. They contain the read option when Mariota decides to keep it and turns that corner and turns into a 4-3-4, 4-4-40 type of guy that gets around the edge that turns into a running back in space. That's going to be the difference maker. They've got guys all over the field. They can throw it. They can run it. Defensively, they can stop you. You saw they shut down Amari Cooper. They held the run in check. They got after Blake Sims. Both teams get after the quarterback. You saw what Oregon was able to do to Jameis Winston. The difference maker is going to be Marcus Mariota and the plays he makes when everything else around him breaks down.
This Sugar Bowl here tonight, I mean, Alabama left here kind of battered and bruised. There are going to be a lot of guys in treatment, so a very physical game. We saw an Oregon team that played extremely physical as well. Were you surprised a little bit by that, and do you think this is going to be a very smash-mouth type of game?
Oregon played very angry today.
Yeah.
They played like a team that had a chip on their shoulder. They came out up front, and they got physical with Florida State. In the red zone, they got very physical. The secondary wasn't allowing the underneath routes. They were hitting the receivers, coming up, jarring the ball loose. And you saw the same thing tonight. We sat and watched this game with Ohio State. We watched field level. And we saw they were just as physical or more physical on almost every play than Alabama was in it. You watched it earlier. It looked like they were feeling Alabama out. And then they said, you know what, we can play with these guys. And they came out, finished that second half pretty strong, first half pretty strong, winning during halftime, and came out with a whole new attitude. And they took it to Alabama. Alabama was playing catch-up the whole rest of the game.
You can put up over 500 yards against this defense for Alabama.
Over 200 rushing by one guy. Ezekiel,
unbelievable.
Fantastic.
They can play with anybody in the country, as clearly stated here in this game tonight. Well, it's on to North Texas, my friend, for the national championship game. Oregon and Ohio State coming up on the 12th. Coverage continues here on CampusInsiders.com.